What's up, paddlers? It's your god, Lightwater here, coming at you with another video. And today, we're going to be talking about the blue post changes to healers. There were some quick balance changes and some interesting changes to Holy Priest, to say the least. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, let's get started. So, the first thing that I noticed here is that Druid's photosynthesis now increases the rate of all hots by 20%. It was 15%. I redid the numbers on this, and guys, believe it or not, it is now actually our best talent to take. Only just barely. So it's actually pretty close to Flourish. So you can kind of actually play two different playstyles now, which I really appreciate. You can play the crazy spam, Flourish, do a bunch of regrowths or whatever build. And also, with the wild growth and whatnot, or you can kind of just play a more slower and more consistent healer with photosynthesis, and you just constantly keep life bloom on yourself. I think that's awesome. I'm definitely probably going to be playing both styles, depending on the fight, right? If you need burst healing, you go with Flourish. If it's more kind of consistent, you need more reliable, faster hot ticks, definitely go with photosynthesis. No, God, I can't even fucking say that word. The reason why this actually got so much better, and I don't think anybody really knows this. A little trick here. So the mushroom now ticks 20% faster, right? So it says right here, it now works with Effervescence. This is actually a double dip in Spring Blossoms. So with the mushroom ticking faster, your Spring Blossom ceiling is going to be increased by 20% anyways. But since it increases all hots again by 20%, the Spring Blossoms is a hot. So the mushroom takes 20% faster, applying the hot 20% more. And now the hot, then again, does 20% more healing just because of this. So it's actually a 44% increase healing to Spring Blossom's healing, which is like, it was about 5 to 10% of your healing before. So mushroom is now like an easy 20% of my healing, like 25%. It's nuts. And maybe that's just because my druid doesn't have the best gear, but we'll definitely see. But I mean, with this change, guys, this is going to be a huge portion of your healing, which I'm okay with. I mean, putting a mushroom on the ground and doing a fair chunk of my healing is easy, and well, you want it to be easy as much as possible. All right, cultivation healing has been reduced by 17%. I kind of saw this one coming. It was doing too much healing. It was almost the same healing as Rejuve, which is not good. 17% is not that much. It dropped it from like 60 over the duration to 50. It's whatever. The main strength of cultivation was that it's another hot, right? So you're still gonna have your 3 hots up. It's still gonna be increasing your average healing by like 20% per hot, with average mastery. So we're fine. And Rejuve's healing got increased by 6%. So I'd say this is about a break-even change, right? You aren't always gonna have cultivation up, but you are always gonna put Rejuve up, right? And Rejuve now hits, relatively harder than cultivation, which is nice. So this change isn't really too much. I'd say these kind of cancel each other out, but this is a big change, and it opens up another playstyle for us that wasn't really, didn't really exist. All in all, I wouldn't say it was a buff or a nerf. You're about the same. However, we have more options now, which is nice. Moving on, and my website broke. Awesome. Okay. All right, we're good. Now, hey, can we move on now? All right. Monk. So chi wave healing was increased by 25%. I reran the numbers. It's still not looking too good for chi wave. I mean, it got a lot better, but it's probably just a really good 5-man talent now. It's almost there, but it's just chi burst is so much more healing. It's insane. Even if you only hit 10 targets with chi burst, it's still better. So it's not that good. I mean, I don't see chi wave ever being used at a raid setting. That's just how it is. It just doesn't do enough. Renewing Mist now correctly generates threat. No one cares. Black Kick. No one cares. Priest. This is where it gets fun. So obviously Disc Priests were running rampant, mostly in PvP, but they were doing pretty good in PvE. So they reduced smite damage across the board. So this actually hit Holy too. So Holy smite does 6% less, as long as Disc. This is kind of a big deal, because a lot of atonement healing from Disc came from smite. I wouldn't say all of it, obviously, but probably 2/3 of it, honestly. Like, Penance was a decent amount, Shadow Word Pain was a decent amount, but smite was a large chunk of it. So this right here, single-handedly, is probably a 3% nerf to Disc Priest, right? You have to imagine at least 3/4 of their damage was from Smite, and Atonement is somewhere around 3/4 of their healing. So it's, once you factor that in, it's probably about a 3% nerf. So the second part here, Divine Star healing has been increased by 25%. Basically, this just means if you can reliably hit 15 or more targets now, it's better. So instead of it only being better if you could hit 20 people every single time, now essentially as long as you can hit 15, you're pretty solid. It's actually not a bad spell now, especially for Holy. The main problem is for Disc, the damage was not increased, right? And so hitting the boss or a couple adds with Divine Star really would do a lot of Atonement healing. Divine Star feels kind of clunky with Disc. So my thoughts is it's probably only going to be used in 5-man still. But who knows? If there's a really intense stacking fight, I could totally see both Holy or Disc taking Divine Star. Alright, so for Discipline. Shadow or Pain, damage reduced by 9%. That's a large chunk. A decent amount of their damage came from Shadow or Pain, maybe like 15%. So, and again, another maybe 1 to 2% nerf. So if we're adding that to Smite so far, they're already looking at about a 5% reduce in Atonement healing, or healing overall rather. Shadow Fiend damage reduced by 16%. That's if you don't take the Mindbender talent. If you do take the Mindbender talent, it's only reduced by 8%. Which makes me wonder why they do that, right? Because if Shadowman and Mindbender were problems, we would reduce them both by the same percentage, right? So it's clear that they're trying to push Mindbender. Like, they don't want to hurt Mindbender as a talent, but they do want to hurt Shadow Fiend as an ability more. 16% is a pretty large number, and I think it's just because it was doing so much healing. I mean, you could just use one Shadow Fiend and put up 13, 14, 15 atonements, and guys, it would pretty much just do all the healing a raid needs. So I could totally see why that needed to be nerfed. And yeah, I think you'll see from other nerfs later on that if they hadn't touched Disc Priest put it in the unanimous top raw healer for HPS, and I don't think that's supposed to be their position. I think Disc Priest's position is supposed to be to counter certain large amounts of damage to your raid, and they're sort of like the more reliable, just like, blows its load, does a bunch of healing, and then kind of chills class. So I think that they need to do some of these changes. Holy. Oh, actually, let's talk about this. Fix the bug where Sins of the Mini was not increasing Atonement healing from Shadow Fiend or Mindbender. So this will probably counteract some of the nerfs that they did to that, but it definitely won't make up all of the lost damage. Sins of the Mini fluctuates anywhere from about 3 to 10% on average, because obviously you're gonna have a bunch of atonements up, and the more atonements you have up, Sins of the Mini will do less. When you have a lot of atonements up, it's only like 2 or 3%, so it's definitely not gonna make up for this nerf at all. But it is a nice little bit back, and really you shouldn't probably ever be using Sins of the Mini. Like you won't get that much bonus out of Sins of the Mini when you use your Shadow Fiend or Mindbender. I think that's funny. It's probably why they didn't notice this bug not working, because probably when people are using the Shadow Fiend and Mindbender, it's when they have like 10 plus atonements out. So the Sins of the Mini bonus is not going to be that much at all. It's interesting that was caught though. Alright, Holy. Binding Heal now costs 2.4% of mana, and it was 2%. This is huge. Absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. Let's do the rest of these real quick. Holy Word Salvation cast time increased to 2.5, and that doesn't really matter. Angel's Mercy cooldown is now properly going to be reduced, so the cooldown reduction is increased. What this actually means is that before it was just taking a little bit off your cooldown, now it's going to actually properly reset. I ran Angel's Mercy and I was getting a couple extra Desperate Prayers, and I was like, this isn't right. I know how it's supposed to be. So I knew that was going to be a bug, and they did fix it, so that's awesome. Binding Heal. So this was the bread and butter of the Holy Priest for raid healing, and at least decently long fights. This is a huge nerf. This is 20% increased mana cost on a spell that was basically their main spell, their main spamming spell. And because this is your main way of getting back Holy Word Salvation, it's kind of like nerfing the amount of salvations you can get by 20% as well. And your other Holy Words for that matter, right? Because you spam those, get your other Holy Words off cooldown. This is a pretty massive nerf. It's a 20% nerf to Binding Heal, and I'd say all your Holy Words, to be completely honest. And that's basically all your healing. So I'm going to say this is about a 15% HBS loss total for the whole class. This was a massive nerf that was probably needed. And now the playing field for the raw HBS throughput healers is even out quite a bit. You know, you knocked down Holy off of its high horse. You brought Disc down a little bit too. Resto Druid has more options. So I'm actually gonna say it's a three-way tie right now between Disc, Holy Priest, and Resto Druids for raw throughput. Which is cool, honestly. That gives me some options. I was pretty much auto-locked into playing Holy Priest for a guild, and I mean, I didn't have a problem with it because I was going to have fun, but I'm deeply considering playing something else, and who knows? With some of the Azurite gear changes, I'm sure that somebody's going to have some kind of broken combo that's going to be really fun at Theorycraft later on. So who knows? Maybe even Holy Paladin's going to have a chance. It's not looking too good for them right now, but we'll see. All right, Restoration Shaman. Cloud Burst now stores 30% of healing, was 25%. This helps a little bit. It's just still not like reliable because it's only based off you, right? And more importantly, it's only based off the healing you can store of actual healing done. So no overhealing, right? And the problem with a totem like that is it's storing all of this energy of your healing when you're actually doing a bunch of healing. But then one wonders, if you just did a bunch of healing, why do you need to do another burst of healing, right? It's like, I did all this healing, I got this crazy cloud burst stored up, and everybody's full health. It just doesn't feel good. And certainly, I'm guessing there might be some fights where it's definitely worth it. And now it's actually not that bad to take. But, I mean, I feel like it still just gets beat out by the AoE healing spell in the talent row. But they're a lot more even, certainly, now. So, and I put that in the Google Docs if you want to see basically the new math for it. It's definitely better, but it's if it was 35%, I think we would probably take it quite often. But it was close Blizzard, but not quite there. Unleash Life's instant heal increased by 26%. This is kind of a random buff to it. I was already taking this pretty much in every situation in 5-man's raid. But now that I got the increased healing on it, got buffed by 26%. I mean, it doesn't really hit that hard. It's a nice little buff. Maybe it's like a 1% HBS increase tops. Like, it's probably being generous. It's okay, right? Now it hits decently hard. There's not much else to say to that. Okay, I don't think there's any more healer stuff. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much the end. It's going to be interesting seeing who's going to come out on top. I do believe it's going to be Priest, Resto, Druid, Disc Priest, which is kind of how it's been, honestly, forever. We'll see, though, honestly. I would really like Holy Paladin to be pretty good. I feel like Resto Shaman and Mistweavers are kind of in a niche right now, and they probably shouldn't be the top raw throughput healers because they're kind of like meant to counter certain things, right? Mistweaver's really, really good at single target healing. Shaman's really, really good at AoE healing and cooldowns. But honestly, Shaman as a class right now is just really weak, so I kind of don't even count them in the running. So yeah, we'll definitely have to wait and see. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. That's the end. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. You can check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/lightxwater. Feel free to drop a comment or a like down below. You can also hit me up with my email. It'll be all in the comment section. And guys, feel free to check out the Google Docs. And we've already made all the changes to reflect the patch notes. And I'm going to continue to monitor those Google Docs. And every single time there is a blue post in the future, we will be updating it. I want to try to make those Google Docs as good as possible. I understand that they're kind of confusing sometimes. And, it kind of looks like chicken scratch. But, hey, that's me. So that's it for me, guys. Yeah, let's make healing great again.